Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We now turn our attention to the beautiful game. The Kingston Football Academy, KFA, completed their tour of the Netherlands, where they acquired first-hand exposure to the rigors of European football. The KFA competed against some of the top clubs in Europe, like PSV Eindhoven and Borussia Mönchengladbach, being the two biggest opponents on the trip. Both clubs, by the way, are currently competing for the titles in the highest youth divisions in their respective countries at the under-17 and under-15 levels. Now, we are now joined by Eric Rademakers, director of Kingston Football Academy, and Nashardo Gibbs, joint top scorer of the under-17 team. Gentlemen, welcome to the SportsMax Zone. Great to have you on. Before we get the teenagers' comments, Eric, how satisfied were you with the trip and how much it may have benefited your players?
I think that people who work really close to me will realize that I'm never really happy. I say my dream is to have somebody from Jamaica that went through our hands to be the captain of Ajax while they win the Champions League. So once we reach there, I'll say I'll be very happy. But no, it was a great trip. And in our bigger goal of everything that we do, it was really great. We're playing against now teams of a higher level and build that relationship now with clubs that are probably more in line to actually offer these opportunities to Jamaicans. Yeah.
All right. Eric, you have a Dutch background. I want to put this question to you because I've known some coaches who have gone on courses in the Netherlands, and they suggested to me maybe 20 years ago or close to that, that they think the Netherlands have the best coaching setup and the philosophy of football from the Dutch is as good as you would want, and he would recommend aspiring coaches to do courses in the Netherlands. Having said that, this is a long time ago, and I know this is a very fluid environment, and maybe it was true then and not so true now. Can you speak to that?
I do think that in the whole coaching education world, the gaps are getting closer between all the countries, because availability is much easier to get access to things. But yeah, I definitely agree, and a big part to me is growing up. There was never a question whether we were trying to compete to be the best. We want to be the best at developing players on a national level, but even on club level, a lot of the clubs, they're trying to be the best youth academy, and not as much as winning the Champions League or those things. So the focus is where it should be, and then when you have focus on something, then you put there the great minds of football with it, with a Johan Cruyff with it, and Marco van Basten and all those guys, Louis van Gaal, the coaches, and you're going to get a great end result. And even when you look at the coaching courses, how it's set up with so much knowledge, real knowledge from these persons, because Van Gaal is involved in the courses, Van Basten is involved in it. There's just going to be a much higher level of teachers, coaches coming out of those things.
Yeah. Nashardo, you have played a lot of football in Jamaica, under 14, under 16, Manning Cup for Kingston College, a standout player, obviously, a lot of quality. Can you talk to us about your experience on this trip and what it felt like comparing what you're accustomed to in the Jamaican landscape? Yeah.
It was my first time going overseas playing football.
Anywhere at all?
Yeah.
First time leaving Jamaica?
Yeah.
For football?
No, for football. Yes. And it was an experience that I needed because it opened me up and showed me that in Jamaica, this level of football is nowhere closer to in Europe. And I went, and the team and I had fun.
Yeah.
And I think we made a statement.
Can you be, before we talk about the success of the team, because the team did have a fair amount of success given the opposition that you were facing, but can you be more specific in what you mentioned just now about football in Jamaica being nowhere near what you experienced in Europe? Maybe a couple of the areas that you think, the Jamaican youth program is far behind.
Preparation-wise. Another thing, they take their stuff really seriously, because even when we played PSV and they had us 3-4 down and they never slowed down the pace, they wanted to give us more. Yes. If it was in Jamaica, you're leading 4-love, 5-love, a player wants to pile, he wants a salad, he wants to do all sorts of those stuff.
Exhibition.
Yeah, so those stuff showed me a lot of stuff, because even in Jamaica, you have a midfielder, he wants to twist and turn. In the Netherlands, PSV, the midfielder, he just wanted to complete the pass.
To complete the pass,
yeah,
and build his statistics.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you think that from your experience playing in football in Jamaica, the country needs to move toward that mindset.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Talk to me quickly about your goal scoring, because you had 6 goals in the tournament, joint leading scorer. As we mentioned, you were up against some top teams, PSV Eindhoven, Borussia Mönchengladbach, and so on. How did that feel? And you're a winger, aren't you?
Yeah.
So how do you score so many goals coming from flanks?
I think I just have an eye for the goal. I'm goal hungry.
Yeah.
You can call it that. I'm goal hungry, and I always put myself in the best possible positions to score goals, and that's just it.
All right, Eric, given the fact that he is such a goal hungry forward, are you comfortable with him on the wing, or do you want him closer to the goal, more central?
You forget to mention that he also had 7 assists on the trip as well. So it's not just the goals he scored. As I say, positioning wise, where can I be valuable? And that's something that he has done very well. And that's when you even rack up numbers, goals as a winger. And we see that in the modern day football as well. So we're happy to see him have the combination of both.
Yeah, I've seen where Leon Bailey and even after that, Dijon Richards, both coming from the Phoenix Academy with Craig Butler, have both said, as Nashardo just mentioned, that there's this huge gap, in football in Jamaica. We may think that, we are star players because we're making the headlines and we're on television and so on, but there is this huge awakening when you go overseas and what is there. Eric, you've seen both. What is the Jamaican program lacking that would help to not necessarily get to the European level, because that's pretty tough, but to make significant strides in that direction?
Yeah, I like how you added that last part, because I think we have to be realistic and say Jamaica has 3 million people. When we look at Jamaicans' financial world and the sponsorship and the money involved in football, it's a lot less. So I don't think we'll ever get to a stage that our youth teams can compete with the youth teams of that level. But there's a lot we can do to get closer to that level, or at least for the individuals that can step up to that level to make that gap a little smaller. I think first of all that we have to take, as Nashardo said as well, we have to prepare ourselves better. And I really think it comes with the coaches here, programs. If we ask ourselves how many of our coaches have multiple jobs, coaches' jobs, and they swing from one club to a next club to a school to an academy, and it's a 2-month program or a 3-month program, and then we'll go to the next one. When we play PSV, and I told them about 20 times to the guys and to the parents, because it's hard to imagine, in August they meet with 20 players and they train 4 times a week, match every weekend from August, September, October, November, December. In January we started to train as a team. So they already put 6 months of preparation, the same team, same players, same coaching staff. Every weekend they have a match. Then they have a full week to analyze that, to work on those things, on the weaknesses, look forward to the next match. And as I said, during those 6 months, our boys are playing schoolboy football, with all due respect, against schools that are nowhere near the level that we should be facing, or players like Nashardo should be facing day in, day out. So that is already a 6-month gap, where I say it's impossible to overcome that if we don't at some point reach to a 10-month competition at a youth level, where you have different divisions or different leagues, so that we play the best of our youth players against the best youth players. So if we start preparing ourselves like that as organizers, not the players, as organizers, then coaches prepare topics. Make sure when you go to the training field you're ready to teach something. Don't just go and play ball and then what you do something or comment on it. Teach something, have a topic, have a plan for the 10 months. But again, if you're there just for 2 months and you have 3 jobs at the same time, it's difficult as a coach to really teach them the proper stuff.
Well, you're saying difficult, but I would suggest impossible.
Well, we try it, and at the end of the day, the footballers perform to some degree at some level. But as you say, if we want to go to that level, we'll have to look at it. What is it that they do? And they do not switch from club to this. I never seen somebody play for Barcelona and a week later for Madrid, and then they go and play for a school in You don't see those things.
Yeah, well, I guess
the multiple sports, I want to touch on it because it's interesting. I just had conversations with the Borussia Mönchengladbach coach, and I asked him, are there any players that do multiple sports? Because we see players have track and field, so for 3 months, he said not a single one. The most, maybe somebody does 1 day in the week boxing or tennis as an additional, but they never miss any sessions because they do a different sport. And I think it's very crucial for us to look at those things and start implementing those things.
Yeah, Nashardo, you're a teammate of Dijon Richards at Kingston College.
Yes.
He recently acquired a huge contract in England with Chelsea. How good is he?
Very good, very good. A lot of people try to understate his talent, but the kid is very talented.
The kid?
Yes, very talented.
How far are you away from him?
Not far.
Not far?
Not far.
Well, that's a very good sign. What are the things that make him good, though? I mean, you train with him, you play with him day in, day out. What are the things that sets him apart from the average player in Manning Cup football?
I've been playing with him from 2019, and the crazy thing is that every year I play with him, he improves something. So 2019, he was lacking speed. He came back, we played Coles, he was fast. We played Coles, he was lacking vision. He came, he has goals, he has speed, he can assist, he can do everything right now. Yeah. So the best thing about him, he improves every time, every year.
Yeah.
So that's what I think that's setting him apart from everyone else. And another thing, he trains right through the year.
Right through the year.
Yeah. Right through the year.
Yeah. Eric, how good is Whisper Richards? You've seen him a lot, and do you think he'll be successful at Chelsea?
I mean, this is the moment where you're really gonna see, how good are you when you reach to that level. And
yes.
I think Chelsea is a very difficult club because they try with a lot of youth players, to see who can break through. But to already kind of kick down that door and reach to that place, I think he has a lot of potential. And at this point, sometimes it's luck. A player in your position might just have to get injured for you to get a chance. But yes. That's where the focus comes in. And if he stays focused throughout his entire period, I'm sure he will get a chance here and there and then show what he can do. And hopefully he will go all the way so we can watch him play Champions League and do great things.
Yeah, Eric, can you make a comment on facilities? Because facilities is a huge problem in the Caribbean on a whole. And I know that you would have experienced magnificent facilities in the Netherlands. How much of a setback is it for the Jamaican football landscape to not have proper, and not only proper, but multiple fields so that clubs and coaches can do what they need to do?
I mean, first of all, I want to thank KFC, our main sponsor, KFC, for really being a part of everything. And the reason why I go to KFC now, I mean, in general, they deserve their credit for assisting us. But I really think it's important that we come together as a country and realize we are not Netherlands. In Netherlands, the government steps in and subsidizes a lot of these fields, and it works great. It's not as easy over here, and it hurts me when I hear a person say, it's not our responsibility. I get it, it's not your responsibility, not my responsibility to develop Nashardo. Yes. But if I want football to be better in Jamaica, I try to develop Nashardo so I build a good name overseas, etc. And I really think that we have to come together and try to find a way to build good facilities, not for a school or for a club, but for the development in Jamaica. So it's crucial. It's crucial, especially the fields. But overall, for us to take it serious, for parents to take it serious, for persons to see it as a career path, yes. We need to have certain facilities that make it feel like, hey, this is something serious. Yeah. So the more turf fields we can get, big turf fields, and the better quality football we're going to see, guaranteed.
Yeah. Nashardo, you just turned 17 years old.
Yes.
We've heard many views, including Leon Bailey, saying this, that we place too much emphasis on schoolboy football in Jamaica, and that schoolboy football is nothing. If you have aspirations to become a world level or a global level footballer, then, at 17, 18, you shouldn't be thinking about schoolboy football, and you should be thinking higher than that. Having just turned 17, is that a narrative that you have heard? And how do you feel about continuing to represent Kingston College?
Honestly, it's a narrative that I honestly believe in, because when I was in the Netherlands, compared to Manning Cup, the pace was very different. The way they move the ball, the movements, it's things that you don't see in Manning Cup that when you go over there you see. Even in the lower average teams, you don't see it in the Manning Cup. So I don't think Manning Cup, it's a good thing. It can give you exposure and those stuff, but it's not the place to be at 18, 19. You'd rather be somewhere else.
Yeah, agree with that, Eric.
Yeah, definitely, and it's a big part of why we try to make these trips. So, you know, even some of the conversations, of course, they start after we come back from these trips about players like Nashardo going on trial and trying to see, hey, why do I play football? And I think very few play football to be great in Jamaica. I think a lot of them play football because they want a further step. Yeah. So I don't want our minds, and even as coaches, to be like, how can we perform here? Let us help them realize their dreams, whether it's at college level, whether it's at professional level, MLS or Europe, and try to give those opportunities and realize the earlier they can get it, the more likely they will succeed.
Yeah, and just before you go, Eric, what was the reaction to your academy from these top flight teams like PSV and Borussia? I know that they are way ahead of our setup, but is there anything they saw in our players to say, you know, there is something there that needs to come out?
Yeah, well, let me put it two ways, because you have on a team level,
yes,
and I would say on a team level we have a lot of building to do because they were not expecting much, yes, you know, and even in acquiring the matches, there was a lot of convincing still to do. Hey, we do have quality. So when we reach over there and we see, I mean, if here we see PSV, this was actually the U-15 result, 6-0. Yes. We played them the day after we arrived, which wasn't great for everything. But we get feedback from the coaches, and PSV, the under-17 coach, a pro-licensed coach, that he was not expecting a team from Jamaica to play so organized and disciplined. And he definitely said, you know, let's do some more stuff together in the future.
Yeah. So that Sittard team you drew 3-3 with, where was that team from?
So that's an Eredivisie team. So yes, they are currently, I think, 11th in the highest division in Netherlands.
Yes.
So yeah, we played more results like that. But then on an individual level, that's now where we make these trips and say, hey, can we actually go and have individuals step up to a level that they can get invited?
So you beat Ipswich 8-1, did you? You're under 17s.
All right. So in the Ipswich town is they have their several levels of their academies, and that's actually Ipswich Town, not the FC, but that's a university team, not from over there. The Luton Town is one of the actual professional team, one of the foundation academies.
Yes.
But these were the tournament results. As you can see, it's teams from all over the place. But this is not necessarily the teams that go and get scouted, yes, where our players get scouted by.
I understand. Nashardo, how many goals did you score in that 8-1 Ipswich win?
3.
8, pardon?
3.
3, you scored 3, hat-trick. All right, Nashardo, very impressed with your quality. Happy that you had the experience in the Netherlands, which opened your eyes to where you can be, and where the KFA will be helping to assist in developing your game. Eric, thanks for dropping in here.
Yeah, I want to mention one last thing. I know there are more academies that go overseas and everything, and I love to see it, but I really think that we have to keep a focus on realizing that we're not there trying to get one player to make it. We're there trying to convince them that Jamaica is a source of great footballers. So, you know, the communication with these clubs, with these coaches, from before to during to after, it's important that we put ourselves out there in a way that they say, these are professional people who deal with professional things. They might not have the means and the facilities,
yes,
but if we invest back in them, a lot of good things can come out of that. So I hope we all put our step forward so we can give more youngsters like Nashardo a chance to go out there.
Yeah, well, Eric and Nashardo, thanks for being on the SportsMax Zone KFA on their recent trip to the Netherlands, getting some very, very great experience there with young players as they look to build their football careers. Back with more on the SportsMax Zone after this.
Stay with SportsMax on YouTube and follow us on all social pages for updates, news and entertainment.